Hi, my name is Brian and I have Tourette's syndrome. So when many people think of Tourette's syndrome, they often think of quirky outbursts of swearing or cute words, but that's only the tip of the iceberg. People with frequent and debilitating tics can struggle with motor tics that can cause serious injury, like the person's own body is sabotaging them. On the other side, vocal tics can also cause distress that you might not think of. For example, difficulty breathing or throat pain. Tourette's syndrome is isolating. We look like normal people, but we say and do weird things. Without context, we just look insane. People with Tourette's syndrome may also experience violent outbursts of tic attacks. At best, these are exhausting, but when they're more serious, they can often lead to people going to the hospital. It sucks. Luckily, I've never had to go to a hospital for a tic attack, but I'm the lucky one, I guess. So this sounds exhausting. Is there any way to treat it? Well, there is medication out there, but I've yet to see a medication that's specifically designed for Tourette's syndrome. There's a lot of just other medication out there that is just so happens to also be used for Tourette's syndrome. But it's helpful enough where doctors regularly prescribe these to patients with Tourette's. So today I'm going to be talking about the medications I have taken in my journey to calm down my tics. Do not be deterred. This is purely my my personal experience. Medication affects everyone differently. So if I had a negative experience with one medication, it may help someone else out a lot. That's why doctors prescribe these. So when I first explained to my primary care physician that my tics had been worsening and had been causing me distress, I was put on clonidine. Clonidine, I believe it was a low dose of 0.1 milligrams twice a day. Taking medicine was not something I was used to at the time, so funny story. First day on clonidine, I took one a couple hours before work. Hey, bitch, that wasn't a tic. And then about halfway into my shift, I took my second dose thinking I was supposed to take it in the evening. Nope. It made me super tired at work and I had to go home early because I was just that tired. So, yes, the drowsiness still lingered when, as I stayed on clonidine after that first day. Dickhead. It also gave me a really dry mouth, and it was just making life more difficult, and it wasn't even helping my tics. So, I went to my doctor again and told him that clonidine was not helping me, so he had me discontinue it. And then I was put on a low dose of, I cannot say this med correctly, fluoxetine. I think it's fluoxetine or Prozac. So I have had tics since the age of 14, but they exploded in March of 2021 after a pretty traumatic thing happened to me. So my doctor explained that by reducing my stress levels, hopefully, they would also reduce the tics. So the thing about Prozac is it takes about 4 to 6 weeks to actually feel the effects. So after that time, I felt like my tics were a little bit better, but I noticed something different. I used to have like these rage attacks. I've also heard other people with Tourette's having this too. So basically with me, I would be driving. I wouldn't get mad at the other drivers. You see, I would take a turn a little bit too sharp, and my work bag would fall over. There was no risk of anything in the bag breaking. It just infuriated me for no reason at all. So, after taking Prozac, those just disappeared. So Prozac was really helpful to me, so my doctor upped my dose to 20 milligrams per day. Lane. Prozac also, along with helping my mood, I guess the more negative things is that it made me harder. It made me harder to cry. I used to always be a crybaby growing up, and I still like regularly notice myself getting more emotional than most people. But now on Prozac, it's so hard for me to cry. I mean, that sounds like a good thing, but sometimes, you know, you gotta let the emotions out. It also, I don't feel like happy as often. That's not to say like I'm an emotional zombie. I am not. I find myself more in just kind of a neutral mood, which is fine. I can vibe with that. Also, one more thing to mention about Prozac. This might be a little TMI, but I can see how if you're trying to have sex on Prozac, it might make things a little bit more difficult. Let me I'll just leave it at that. All right, moving on. We're going to talk about clonidine again. Yep. My doctor put me on clonidine again. This time it was a patch, and if you're going to take the patch form of clonidine, I hope you have insurance. Those little buggers are expensive as all hell. I had pretty much the same symptoms as before: dry mouth, fatigue. There was one day where I took my patch off a day early by mistake, and I put on a new one. No one gives a fuck. Have you tried shutting the fuck up? So, I was afraid that I overdosed. I just became really, really tired, like more tired than clonidine has ever made me feel before. I was in a restaurant with my dad, and we had to leave early because I felt like I was gonna fall asleep at the table. Luckily, after a few hours, I was okay, but it was still a little scary. So I told my doctor, hey, clonidine isn't helping me. So you know what he did? He doubled the dose. It was a 0.2 milligram per day patch. That didn't last very long. I took it off. I was like, look, I'm not doing this anymore. This is hell. So we're going to back up a little bit. So after that first doctor, so during the first doctor visit, my primary care doctor diagnosed me with a tic disorder. And I was confused. I thought I met all the diagnosis criteria for Tourette's. I've been ticking since I was 14. I have vocal and motor tics. But he explained to me, and of course he fell for the stereotype. He thought Tourette's was just vocal tics only, no motor tics. That's not true. And because of this, he tried to put me on guanfacine, and insurance did not recognize guanfacine as a treatment for tic disorder. They recognize it as a treatment for Tourette's, because insurance companies, if you're in America, you know, insurance companies are stupid, and they try to screw you over. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. So, now I'm at the neurologist, and I tell him, hey, my doctor tried to put me on guanfacine before, and you're trying to put me on guanfacine. I don't think this is going to work. So he said, okay, well, let me look through your chart. This is my chart. Oh, you have a tic disorder. Well, I feel like you have more symptoms of Tourette's. So we're going to change your diagnosis to Tourette's, and hopefully the insurance company will listen. And they did. So now I'm on guanfacine. So after all that bowl, did it help at all? Well, no. Guanfacine, I didn't notice any changes except only one. I just became kind of depressed after taking it. It could have been because I just moved out and now I was just kind of facing some childhood trauma. I don't know if you heard the train. I live next to a train track, an airport, and a highway. Anyway. So So I became kind of depressed. I think this is mostly triggered by just me moving out and facing childhood trauma. Because I told my neurologist, he had me stop the guanfacine. And the depression symptoms still kind of lingered. And because the depression symptoms lingered, I talked to my primary care doctor again. He had me up my Prozac again. That still didn't help with the tics, but it's probably helping with my mood. I don't know. All right. Oh, yes. We're on to the antipsychotics now. Seroquil. So I didn't care that Seroquil was considered to be an antipsychotic. If it helped my tics, I would be more than happy to take it. Lay bitch. Seroquil kind of made me drowsy like the clonidine did, but not as bad. It didn't help my tics any. I just had a neurology visit yesterday. Lay bitch. They took me off the Seroquil and they're having me try risperidone. All right. It's another antipsychotic, but again, I don't care if that label doesn't scare me because if it helps my tics, it helps my tics. So I have not tried risperidone yet. I'm going to pick up my prescription today. I'm still pretty confident. I've seen a lot of creators with severe tics. They've talked about that how medication has significantly reduced their tics to an amount where they can actually function. So my tics aren't as bad as other people's, so that makes me even more optimistic that I can find a solution to this. As I just want to break, Tourette's is not pleasant. It is freaking exhausting. It is isolating. I hope that someday I can just be free from the exhaustion of my tics and that medication could be helpful. So I hope that this was informative to you. Again, this is purely my own experience. So do not be afraid of like clonidine, for example, or guanfacine. Like my experiences with that may not reflect yours. You might have like an easy solution right there in those, and that is great for you if that has helped you. So thanks for watching. You can find me on TikTok. I am HiccupWith Tourettes. My Instagram is Brian the Bee, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and all that crap. Have a good day.